Hey guys, and welcome back to another Unfiltered Gamer board game review. In today's game, up on the tabletop, I have two board games we're going to be covering by Blue Orange Games. So the first one will be 50 Fruity, a game that plays 2 to 6 players, ages 8 and up, and takes about 10 to 15 minutes to play. And then we have Blind Jack. This plays like 2 to 12 players, also takes roughly about 10 minutes, and it's for ages 12 and up. And both of these games are small-based card games that fit in these tiny little boxes here. The 50 Fruity game is kind of a guess of the two and pick one and give your opponent the other. And it's kind of a tableau game where you go throughout the entire deck and then add up all your value, and whoever has the most points wins. Whereas Blind Jack is a bit like Blackjack, but with a twist. It's got a little bit of a trivia aspect to it, where you're going to be looking at the cards, reading them, trying to figure out the answer face down, and revealing to try and get the number of 21 or less with the cards that you have been guessing. And you can always stop after 3 cards. And your opponents will be doing the same thing, attempting to get as close as they can without going over. Play any number of rounds with this one, but this one here is done after the deck runs out. We'll cover the 50 Fruity game first, and then we're going to cover Blind Jack, both the setup and then how to play, and then we'll go ahead and cover the review for both of the games. Let's get into it. So let's go ahead and cover the game 50 Fruity and the setup for play. Well, first thing you do is you'll take out all the cards and you'll separate 2 of them. This here is basically the turn order, and you'll be flipping it from round to round. And then this one over here is your value for coconuts. This is your little banana split here, and it's worth 9 points. Just set them aside somewhere within reach. Then go through the deck. You'll take all of the blue cards, so you can have a blue inside and then a white border, and they will be green bananas, there'll be yellow bananas, you can have coconuts in here, and you can go ahead and shuffle them up. Also note, when you're playing with different players in the game, you'll look on the cards, and on the bottom left portion of the cards, it will give you a 4+, a 5+, etc., and you'll put these in based on the number of players playing the game. So with a smaller game, will be less cards in this deck. Once you shuffle this deck up here and you have these 2 cards out, you can, if you want, invest in playing with some advanced rules here. These rules are going to be including these red, yellow, and dark blue cards here. If you want, you can have each player select any of these 2 cards and shuffle them into the main deck, which will give you, in a 4-player game, 8 new cards that can happen upon in this deck here. And I'll explain a little bit about these cards in my review portion, but just know that there is an advanced variant to this game, and it's a light setup. Just pick 2 cards, put them in the deck, and shuffle for each player. Okay, and then from there, we go into how to play the game. Well, 50 Fruity is pretty simple, and the way it works is you're going to be drawing 2 cards when it's your turn, and you can select any player to go first. And when you do that, you'll then show one of your players based on this round order, and then in this case it's going to be going counterclockwise, so I would go ahead and show this player over here these 2 cards. They are then going to tell me what these 2 cards are, but with some restrictions. They have to tell the truth once, and they can either tell the truth twice or lie. So 2 truths or a truth and a lie. And what you have to say is you have to say the number, if available, and of course what the type is. So in this case, they could say that this here is a singular coconut, which would be the truth, and then they could say that this is 5 green bananas, which would be a lie. They could also just say that they're both coconuts. That's also okay. What they can't do is say that one is 2 coconuts and the other is 2. That would be 2 lies. And they can't, as well, when you have 2 of the same card, they can't say that either. So they actually have to lie in just a specific scenario. And from there, once they've told me a truth and a lie, or 2 truths, I will then select which one I want. And I will take that card face up in front of me. And that player will take the card that was not picked by me, and they will take that card face up in front of them. And from there, that player is then going to draw 2 cards. And they are going to reveal the next player in counterclockwise order. And that player will then tell the truth to them or lie. And that player is then going to go ahead and pick one of the cards. And the game will just keep going from there. And what will eventually happen is you'll run through the entire deck until there's just 1 card left and a lot of cards that are face up in front of you. And when that happens, the game is over. You're then going to go ahead and tally up all your points. And how that will work is every single one of these bananas that is yellow will score you a point. So a 1 banana card is worth 1 point, a 2 is worth 2. Coconuts by themselves are worth nothing. But if you have the most of them, you will take this banana split card worth 9 points at the end of the game. And green bananas are not worth anything unless you're playing the advanced variant, then it could be worth something. You'll tally up all your points, and whoever has the most points in the game is the winner of 50 Fruity. I'll cover some of the more nuanced aspects to the game, but that's pretty much how it goes, other than after a round takes place, this card will flip over and you'll rotate so that each time it comes around to you, you'll have a different player from your left or right hand side guessing. And when you're playing two players, you just simply go back and forth with each other. That's kind of the only unique variant to the game. But yeah, there you go, 50 Fruity, a pretty straightforward, like, pick one, give one, and like a little bit of a lying / bluffing game from Blue Orange Games. We'll cover more about it in my review, but let's go ahead now and cycle over to Blind Jack. So Blind Jack is a team-based or just individual-based, depending on the number of players you're playing with, guessing game where you're trying to guess numbers based on trivia cards and get as close to 21 without going over. And the game is simple, but let's just say that we're playing with 4 players to make it even simpler. You will then take your little markers, and I have 4 markers here, and you can place them on these little tracks here, actually on the bottom here of the box. There's a little area for keeping track of points where you go from 1 to 21. I would suggest you just place them there. This is a way that you can kind of take a mental note of a guess of where your cards' values are going to be. And then from there, you're going to go ahead and have some player or team start. And then what's going to happen is they're going to draw the card, and then they're going to look at it, look at the front without looking at the back, so that their opponents will see the number, but you will only see the question. A number of African elephants needed to equal the weight of a woolly mammoth. So how many African elephants equate to one singular woolly mammoth? And you have to like kind of take a bit of a guess, unless you know the answer, right? Woolly mammoths are definitely bigger than African elephants, but by how much? Maybe 3 elephants equal a mammoth? That's my guess. I'll take that card, I'll place it face down in front of me, and to keep track of my guess, I can go ahead and move my marker up to the number 3. And so now I know that this card is my guess of 3. And then from there, my opponents will do the same thing. They'll take this card, number of red stripes in between white stripes on the US flag, and if they know it, they know it. If they don't, they don't. They can go ahead and guess. Maybe they'll say 4 or 5, and they'll place it down in front of them, and they'll move up the marker. And what this means is that basically you get an idea, and if you're good at counting and memorizing, you'll know what your opponents actually have compared to you. And so you're trying to stay below your opponents, but high enough to get to 21. And if you think somebody's close enough to get to 21, they might actually succeed, you might have to guess more. And you'll keep going. You'll draw another card. Rank of Africa's largest country, Algeria, among the largest country by size. I don't know. It seems like a larger number maybe. Maybe I'd say 4. I don't know. I'll place that down. And you will rinse and repeat. And that's just what's going to happen throughout the game, is each player is going to get these cards here. But after the third one, once you get your third card, the next time it would be your turn, and you'll look at the card, rank of Russia among the most populated countries in the world. If you want, you can pass. Kind of like passing on blackjack, right? Where you don't want any more cards, or you don't want any more numbers. In this case, it's the same thing, but in this game, you get the option of at least reading the card to see if that number might actually help you, based on the numbers that you know or think you know you have in front of you face down. And so if you want, you can guess and add this card and continue the game as normal, or you can pass. And you can choose to do this at any point after your third card. So maybe I'll take one more here. It'll go around the table. Let's just say that everybody else has gotten 4, and it's back to me. In this case, I read it number of people under 30 out of 10 in the world. Okay, I think I've got too much here. Maybe this is a larger number and I want to go for it. So I'll leave it here and pass. And then once everybody passes all the way around, what's going to happen is the scoring phase. Everybody's markers will drop to 0. And then you're going to flip over your cards and add up your values. I have a 1, a 10, a 1, and a 9. That is 10, 10, and 1. That's 21 perfectly, which has actually never happened for me. So congratulations me hitting the exact number I need. And everybody else will do the same as well. We have a 5, a 3, a 0, and a 3. That is going to net them 6 and 5. That's 11 points. While they are not out because they didn't go over 21, they are not closest, which I am, so I would win in this case scenario. And you would do that for every single player and kind of keep track of their numbers. And that's it. That's the entire round of play. I guess you play as many rounds as you want. You'll take all these cards and you'll go ahead and then discard them. And you'll push through the deck and keep playing the game and go through a number of rounds. I'm sure there's probably, the game ends as soon as all teams have stopped talking, add up the values. The team whose sum of actual value is close to 21 wins the game. So basically, you can play one round and end the game, but usually I would suggest playing a series of games. And in fact, it has this try the super blind jack. The winning team closest to 21 without exceeding it scores 2 points, and the losing teams score 0 if they go over 21, or 1 if they're under. And the first team to reach 3 points is the winner. So you could play kind of like a tournament of sorts if you would like as well. And then it illustrates the card statistics, the likeliness between values between 0 and 10, the 1s, 2s, 8s, and 9s, etc., etc. But there you go, there's Blind Jack. Pretty much a trivia guessing game with the rules of 21/blackjack. So now we come to my review portion of the games, and we'll cover 50 Fruity first. And before we do that, I do a little bit of caveating and advanced play, and so let's talk about the unique advanced cards in the game. First of all, like I said before, each player, if they want to play the advanced version of the game, can choose any 2 of these cards here and add them to this deck, so that you have unique cards that can pop up from time to time. Like, for instance, this cacti. This is going to be a -2 to the player who has to place it in front of them, so it's a bad card and you don't want it. Or perhaps you have this mango. Now, mangoes don't do anything on their own, but if you have green bananas face up in front of you, for each mango you have, you can choose one of those cards and turn the green bananas into yellow bananas, making unripened bananas become ripe, and they are worth then points. Normally a 5 green banana is not worth anything, but with a mango it becomes worth 5 points. A good card. Then you have these dark blue cards. These are higher value bananas. So in this case, a 7 banana. Where in the main deck, I think the largest bananas you can get are 5s. Now we have 7s here as well. A double coconut. Like I said before, coconuts don't do anything, but the player who has the most of them gains this banana split card, so having a double coconut in here can change drastically the options for players to be able to pull that card, even if they are behind. And that's pretty much the main aspect of these. There's a few other ones, like being able to look at the last card in the deck. This card can become that card. Cards that are worth value unless there's more of them that you get on the field. And then there are duplicates of each of these cards as well. There's bomb cards that will cancel out certain cards of yours, the coconuts. And so there are a variety of unique cards in the game 50 Fruity that you can choose to add. And if you want to play even more variants, you can just shuffle and add all of them together and have kind of a crazy game. And so that's pretty much all the caveats for this one here. The Blind Jack game, the main thing I want to remind you is that the box actually has a scoring system, and you could play in teams, or you could choose to play individually, and you're going to be utilizing, I would suggest to utilize the scoring system for how you want to guess, first and foremost. Like, okay, this card's probably worth 3, this is worth 4, this is worth 7, this is worth 1, and so I'm going to say, okay, I have like 13 points, or whatever that number equates to. And everybody can do that without having to keep track of everything in their head. It makes it nice and easy, and then when it's time to score, when everybody is passed, you bring all those numbers back down, and then you find your actual results, and the player that's closest to 21 is the winner. And so that's an easy way to remember how to do that. And of course, there are series of the game, like I explained previously. You can play just one straight up game, which takes like 5 to 10 minutes to play, depending on how quick readers you have in front of you. So you can play multiple different games and kind of make it a little bit of a scoring thing. And then obviously when you get more advanced in the game, you can go ahead and look at the card stats to see that the average of all cards is 5, how many of each of these are in there, and get a good sense of that. So let's go ahead and cover the review. We'll start with 50 Fruity. This is a take 2 cards, don't look at them, have a player tell you lies or the truth, and then you select one based on what you think they're trying to do. What card are they trying to steer you away from? Are they actually just being honest and nice and you get fooled by thinking that they're being mean? Or are they in fact being evil? And you select the card that they want you to select, and that gives their tableau a stronger lead on the game board. And that's kind of the idea of the game. It's just a tableau management game with a little bit of bluffing, and you're trying to kind of like build control over the field here. For the advanced gamers, honestly, I would just add these cards, at least 2 per player to the game. Personally, for me, I like adding a bit more, and you can choose to do that, but the game becomes a little longer, but it adds some more wacky combinations and stuff like that. But it's really up to you. This game allows for a lot of variation and unique switching of cards that you can add or not add to determine how mean you want the game to be or nice. You can select your own variations of cards when playing with players that are new, and that's also a nice way to go about the game. So far as the artwork goes, it's pretty straightforward. It's kind of like the old that like ninja fruit cutting game from the app, and then when I played it at the arcade or whatever. That's the kind of style this game has for you. Very basic, straightforward art. Very visually appealing, very simple to understand, and straightforward. This is a coconut. This is what gives me the banana split, right? These are bananas. These are worth points. The green bananas aren't worth any points. And that's the majority of the entire game, just the base idea of the game. And then if you want to get a little more complex, that's when you can add just the unique additional cards here, which are also fairly straightforward and provide details in the corners. Green banana turns to yellow. And then this is the mango, right? Okay, that's pretty simple. The pepper is worth 5, but peppers, the more you get, are -1. And so there you go. A very simple, straightforward game. This is a game that has a lot of replayability, adds the unique aspect of additional cards. You can always add on additional cards too in the future. If they wanted to, they could add a 50 Fruity Part 2 Electric Boogaloo and just include more cards, unique styles, whatever they'd like to do with the game. It's not super complex, not something super new. There's always been those, take two, pick one style games. It adds a little bit of a bluffing dilemma and tableau management together, which is something I haven't really played before, but if you've played similar games, you kind of get an idea of what this game is already, even if you haven't tried it. And now that I've explained it to you, most modern gamers probably like, okay, I know what the game is like, it's for me or it's not for me. So there you go, 50 Fruity. For me personally, a solid little game. I'll keep this around, at least for a while, because it's enjoyable, plays quite a number of players, and there's some nice variety, as well as it's good for younger audiences, but it works for adults as well. Then we have Blind Jack, another blue-orange game. This one is kind of a little take on blackjack with a take on trivia. Now, I actually don't mind trivia games. I love blackjack, and I think they do a great job of entwining the two different systems into this game. I love the fact that they add the scoring aspect and guessing aspect to the box itself. It doesn't add any more, cost any more than a few little tokens, but it gives you the ability to kind of utilize the entirety of the game, and it's a good way to keep track of things as you go through. I also like the questions. A lot of the questions all of them are like 10 or less, right? And so the number is not going to be super crazy, and you know that there's a roundabout of always being 5, and the closer you get, the better your opportunity is to get to 21. There's a lot of hair-raising situations. The game is tight in a lot of ways, and having to get as close as you can to other players because you see what they're doing and you know what their board is like, but you don't know what yours is actually like. Unless, the one flaw of the game, you've played the game enough times to know what all the answers are. So that is the one drawback to a lot of trivia games like Trivial Pursuit and whatnot. You have to buy into new ones as you play enough of them. If you're looking for a game that plays like this, a little trivia, a little 21, you're going to enjoy this game. If you don't mind a game that's probably going to sit at like 15 to 25 playthroughs, or like sit-down playthroughs, because you might play more than one game, then you're going to enjoy this game. It's solid. But the problem comes in when players start actually knowing the answers to some of these. And I actually, from playing the game only 3 times, I could probably tell you about at least 30 of these cards and the actual answers because they were interesting, which is not a full knock on the game because you do have a little bit of a learning experience, but there is that not as much replayability that is inserted into this game. However, it's still a great gifting game, and once you've played your fill of it and enjoyed it as much as you'd like, this is a game you can pass on to somebody else for them to enjoy as well. Or if they wanted to, they could always add additional question cards, or you could make your own at some point as well. Simply numbers with a question, and then the answer has to be between 0 and 5 with a kind of a stagnant of 5 being the median when you add up all your cards together. It's a fun game. The trivia is great. There are a lot of wonderful questions, and we'll go through a few of those now. So, number of people under 30 out of 10 in the world, which we already covered. The number of different blocks in the game Tetris. Minimum number of murders required to classify someone as a serial killer. Number of male nurses out of every 10 nurses in the world. The number of people killed by John Rambo in the first Rambo movie. And so as you can see, there's a lot of variety of questions that most people will probably not know, but they'll know the basics of where the answer will lay. They've probably heard of these things before. These are a lot of common knowledge questions, and for the most part, most of these will not get old with time, like some games like Trivial Pursuit. So you can hand this game off 5 years from now, 10 years, and it'll still be good for a play. So yes, I enjoy 21. I enjoyed trivia. And if you don't mind the game not having a huge amount of replayability after a number of games, but there still being quite a lot of cards in it, then you are going to enjoy this one as well. Both Blind Jack and 50 Fruity are solid small base games, and for the price, you're going to get a lot of enjoyment from these games. The only caveat is it has to be your type of game, and these are distinctly different. A 21 based hidden tableau game, and then a kind of hidden pick and choose tableau management game involving the 50 fruity different numbers that you can try and get throughout the game. More points is better, no more than 21. I like both of these games. Blind Jack is gonna sit in my collection until I feel like I've played through all the cards, and then I'm going to pass it along to a family member or a friend, most likely. But I still think both are great options to pick up, especially if you're liking those type of genres. Thank you guys for watching another Unfiltered Gamer board game review for the game Blind Jack and 50 Fruity by Blue Orange Games. A small note too, as I was putting this up, I forgot to tell you guys that when you put these back, the cards need to go flat. You should put 2 of them. Don't have them all sticking like slanted. That's only for when you start the game. That's important, because otherwise the box doesn't close. It just kind of keeps open. Very important information, I know. But if you're interested in either 2 of these games, go ahead and check out the link down below in the description where you can go ahead and pick up Blue Orange Game. There are these 2 here, and Blue Orange has a ton of other games, all of which are great family-friendly, fun games with great replayability. I own 20 Blue Orange games in my collection currently, so I can tell you that they are excellent, fun family games. And if you like the video here, you can go ahead and hit that like button, hit the subscribe button so you can see more of our videos as we produce them. We've got some more playthroughs coming out for Mistborn, the deck building game. We got a Nemesis game, the 3rd one coming out as well. I want to take a little longer to review that one, make sure I got everything well done. But yeah, we have a bunch of games and reviews coming out shortly here as well. Thank you guys so much for watching, and as always, I look forward to playing some Blind Jack or 50 Fruity or literally any Blue Orange game with you guys next time.